If you were a NASCAR fan, you felt it this weekend. That moment where you sit back and realize something genuinely big is happening this season. Toda delivered everything. Chaos, bold moves, history, heartbreak, and a statement that might end up defining the entire year. And just like the previous weekend, it was not one story coming out of Austin. It was two massive stories, both of them significant in their own right. One race may have rewritten the record books in a way that has literally never happened before in NASCAR history. The other proved that road course dominance in this sport is very real, very deep, and possibly still growing. What happened at Circuit of the Americas this weekend is going to have ripple effects across the championship picture, across team momentum, and across how we talk about this season for a long time to come. Before we get into all of it, if you are a real NASCAR fan who loves this sport and wants honest breakdowns from people who actually watch every lap, please take a second to hit that like button and subscribe to NASCAR Nation Report. We're a new channel and we are pushing toward our first 6,000 subscribers. Every person who joins this community helps us keep doing what we love. If this is your kind of NASCAR content, you are exactly where you need to be. Now let's get into both of these stories because they are both worth every minute. Let's start with what happened on Sunday in the Cup Series race at COTA, because what Tyler Reddick did is not something you can fully prepare yourself for even after watching NASCAR your whole life. He won again for the third straight race to open the season: Daytona, Atlanta, and now Circuit of the Americas. 3 races, 3 wins, a perfect start to the year. And here is the part that makes it truly historic. No driver has ever done this before. Not in the modern era of NASCAR, not in the old school era, not ever. Opening a season 3 for 3 is something that has simply never happened in the entire history of the Cup Series until Tyler Reddick did it this weekend. He crossed the finish line roughly 4 seconds ahead of Shane Van Gisbergen. 4 seconds on a road course against one of the best road racers on the planet. That margin alone tells you everything you need to know about how locked in Reddick and the 23XI Racing Toyota operation are right now. Behind those two, Christopher Bell came home third, Ty Gibbs was fourth, and Michael McDowell rounded out the top 5. Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, A.J. Allmendinger, and Denny Hamlin filled out the rest of the top 10. That is about as stacked a top 10 as you will see all season, and Reddick beat every single one of them. The race itself was far from a simple wire-to-wire cruise. Stage 1 started with some bold early aggression when Chase Briscoe went 3 wide into Turn 1 alongside Reddick and Ross Chastain. Briscoe grabbed the early lead, and the field actually stayed relatively clean at the start, which at COTA is honestly almost surprising. Ryan Blaney, who had shown impressive long-run speed during practice, tracked Briscoe down and took over the lead. He started pulling away and building a gap, and meanwhile, Shane Van Gisbergen, who started 13th, was doing exactly what everyone watching expected him to do. He started carving through the field methodically, moving from 13th all the way up to 3rd, and you could feel the energy building around him. Everyone watching was starting to think this might genuinely be his day, at the track that had escaped him before. As Stage 1 wound down, strategy started splitting the field. Some drivers chose to short pit, giving up stage points in exchange for track position later in the race. Blaney was one of them, and that move handed the Stage 1 win to Chastain. Stage 2 is where things started getting genuinely messy. Blaney cycled back to the lead as others made their pit stops. Van Gisbergen came off pit road leading a group of cars, but restarted 15th with slightly fresher tires than those around him. Then the chaos really started arriving. Connor Zilisch got spun in Turn 1 after contact with Daniel Suarez. Noah Gragson spun between 2 sections of the track. Josh Berry looped his car in the middle of the pack but somehow kept going without a full caution being thrown. Up front, Reddick took control of the race for the first time. He led until making a pit stop with 3 laps remaining in the stage, a deliberate strategic move to set himself up for the run to the finish later. That kind of thinking, making a call like that to sacrifice stage position for a better shot at winning the race, is veteran-level racecraft regardless of how early in the season it is. During the pit stops in Stage 2, more drama piled on. Alex Bowman was hit with a penalty for an uncontrolled tire. Austin Dillon spent an extremely long time on pit road dealing with a broken shifter. Ty Gibbs ended up winning the stage. Then Stage 3 arrived, and that is where the race truly turned into the story it became. Reddick held the lead over Blaney on the restart, with Van Gisbergen slotting into 5th and working forward. Up front, Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell were running hard and battling each other in a heated and physical fight for position. Then Chase Briscoe, who had been running a legitimate top 5 car all day, suddenly slowed with 32 laps remaining. A rear-end failure sent him to the garage and ended what had been a very strong day for him. With 26 laps left, Reddick pitted from the lead and Blaney followed. Van Gisbergen came in 1 lap later, and then the race turned completely on its head when Ross Chastain, the Stage 1 winner, spun off track because of a wheel that had actually come loose and separated from the car. NASCAR threw the caution flag, and Chastain was held for 2 laps with more penalties to follow in the coming week. That caution completely scrambled the strategy picture for the closing laps. During that caution, some teams chose to pit for fresh tires, while Reddick, Blaney, Van Gisbergen, and a few others stayed out on older Weber. That was a gamble, and everyone watching knew it. And then came the moment nobody had expected or wanted to see. Alex Bowman climbed out of his Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolet in the middle of the race because he was feeling ill. Matt Snyder jumped in and finished the race for him, and you just hope that Bowman is okay, because that is what matters most in that situation. On the restart, Van Gisbergen got around Blaney for second. Zeilish got spun for the second time in the race, a brutal afternoon for a driver who had started on pole. Kyle Busch made contact with his teammate Jesse Love, which triggered a chain reaction further back in the field. Christopher Bell, on fresher tires, muscled his way through to third. But up front, it was the showdown everyone had been building toward all afternoon. Van Gisbergen versus Reddick, with the race on the line. Van Gisbergen closed in, and you could see him hunting, looking for a way through, trying to manufacture the run he needed. But it never quite came. Reddick just drove away. The 23XI Toyota checked out completely and did not look back. 3 wins, 3 races: Daytona, Atlanta, COTA. He is leading the championship standings by a wide margin already, and it is only 3 races into the year. Now, some people watching might focus only on the fact that Van Gisbergen came up short on Sunday and feel a little disappointed on his behalf. And sure, COTA was supposed to be his track. He was right there. He chased Reddick, he closed the gap, he applied pressure, but he just did not have enough in those final laps to get the job done. But here's the thing. If you are judging Van Gisbergen's weekend purely by that second-place Cup finish, you are missing the bigger picture entirely. Because less than 24 hours before that, on Saturday in the Xfinity Series race at COTA, he put on an absolute road course masterclass. With 5 laps remaining after the final restart, Van Gisbergen was sitting in 6th place. From there, he dove to the inside at Turn 1, made it 4 wide, got his nose under Sam Mayer, who had won Stage 2, and when Mayer ran wide, it opened the door. Van Gisbergen cleared everyone and took the lead in one of the boldest and most beautifully executed moves you will see all year. That was not a lucky break. That was pure road racing instinct. He led 5 times for a total of 31 laps, including the final 5, and beat Austin Hill to the finish line by less than a second. Hill, who has 3 runner-up finishes in 5 starts at COTA, admitted afterward that Van Gisbergen is simply exceptional in the opening laps of a run. That win was Van Gisbergen's 5th career Xfinity victory, and it also marked the 10th consecutive road course win for JR Motorsports as an organization. 10 straight. That team is in a class of its own on road courses right now. There was also a remarkable moment buried in the Xfinity results worth acknowledging. 17-year-old Brent Cruz finished sixth in his series debut and actually led laps during Stage 2, becoming the first driver under 18 to lead laps in the Xfinity Series since Casey Atwood back in 1998. That is a genuinely historic footnote from a race that had plenty of big moments. So here's what this weekend means when you put it all together. Tyler Reddick is building something historic in the Cup Series. His team is operating at an elite level and shows no signs of slowing down. Van Gisbergen remains the king of road courses in the Xfinity Series and is a genuine threat in Cup every time the schedule turns to a road course. The championship picture is already taking real shape just 3 races in. Reddick has the momentum, Van Gisbergen has the road course dominance, Bell is lurking, Gibbs is consistent, Blaney showed real speed. This season already feels like something special, and we're barely even started.